Tonight is the 24th of July, 2011, and we're on the 9th night of the Digha Nikaya talks. Tonight we come to Sutta number 14, Mahapadana Sutta. This is the start of the second book of the Digha Nikaya. This second book is called the Great Division, Mahavaga. This sutta, Mahapadana Sutta, is about Buddhas, the lineage of the Buddhas. But if we study this sutta, we find that this is probably a later sutta, because there are certain things inside here is a bit hard to accept. And also it uses some things from other suttas, piece them together, and make it appear like all Buddhas are the same. But in the Vinaya books, the Buddha was asked whether all Buddhas, their asana is the same, and the Buddha said no. Different Buddhas, the length of their asana, the Buddhist religion varies according to whether the Buddha teaches a lot of sutta and Vinaya or little sutta and Vinaya. Those Buddhas who teach a lot of sutta Vinaya, the sasana lasts a long time. Those who teach not much, then the sasana, the religion doesn't last so long. Okay. Sutta number 14, Mahapadana Sutta. Thus have I heard. Once the Lord was staying at Savatthi in Anatta Pindika's park in the Jeta Grove, in the Kareri hutman, and among a number of monks who had gathered together after their meal, after the alms round, sitting in the Kareri pavilion, there arose a serious discussion on former lives, as they said, "This is how it was in a former life," or "That was how it was." And the Lord, with a purified divine ear faculty surpassing the powers of humans, heard what they were talking about. Getting up from his seat, he went to the Kareri pavilion, sat down on the prepared seat and said, "Monks, what was your conversation as you sat together? What discussion did I interrupt?" And they told him, "Well, monks, would you like to hear a proper discourse on past lives?" And they said, "Lord, it is time for that." "Well, Pharaoh, it is time for that." If the Lord were to give a proper discourse on past lives, the monks would listen and remember it. And the Buddha said, "Well then, monks, listen, pay close attention and I will speak." "Yes, Lord," the monks replied. And the Buddha said, "Monks, 91 aeons ago," aeons means world cycles, or kappa, "the Lord, Arahant Sammasambuddha, Vipassi arose in the world. 31 aeons ago, the Lord Buddha, Sikhi arose in the world. In the same 31st aeon, before this Lord Buddha, Vesabu arose. And in this present fortunate aeon, the Lords Buddha, Kakusanda, Kona, Gamana, and Kassapa arose in the world. And monks, in this present fortunate aeon, I too have now arisen in the world as a fully enlightened Buddha, as a Sammasambuddha." Stop here for a moment. So, in another sutta, the Buddha mentioned that one night he probably didn't sleep. He didn't rest. He contemplated the past. He looked for a very long time. One aeon or one world cycle is very, very long. The Buddha said, hard to imagine how long it is. And for the Buddha to contemplate 91 world cycles, it probably took him the whole night. And he said, in the 91 world cycles that he contemplated, only 6 Sammasambuddhas appeared. But as I mentioned, there are many, many Pacceka Buddhas at any one time. Like in the Isigili Sutta, there were 500 Pacceka Buddhas at one time. On the Isigili hill or mountain outside Rajagaha. So that's why I always say 99.99% of Buddhas are Pacceka Buddhas who refuse to teach the Dhamma to the whole world. The Lord Buddha Vipassi was born of Katya race and arose in a Katya family. The Lord Buddha Sikhi likewise. The Lord Buddha Vesabu likewise. The Lord Buddha Kakusanda was born of Brahmin race and arose in a Brahmin family. The Lord Buddha Kona Gamana likewise. The Lord Buddha Kassapa likewise. And I, monks, who am now the Arahant Sammasambuddha, was born of Katya race and arose in a Katya family. The Lord Buddha Vipassi was of the Kondanya clan. The Lord Buddha Sikhi likewise. The Lord Buddha Vesabu likewise. The Lord Buddha Kakusanda was of the Kassapa clan. The Lord Buddha Kona Gamana likewise. The Lord Buddha Kassapa likewise. I, who am now the Arahant Sammasambuddha, am of the Gautama clan. In the time of the Lord Buddha Vipassi, the lifespan was 80,000 years. In the time of the Lord Buddha Sikhi, 70,000. In the time of the Lord Buddha Vesabu, 60,000. In the time of the Lord Buddha Kakusanda, 40,000. In the time of the Lord Buddha Kona Gamana, 30,000. In the time of the Lord Kassapa, it was 20,000 years. In my time, the lifespan is short, limited and quick to pass. It is seldom that anybody lives to be 100. The Lord Buddha Vipassi gained his full enlightenment at the foot of a trumpet flower tree. The Lord Buddha Sikhi under a white mango tree. The Lord Buddha Vesabu under a sal tree. The Lord Buddha Kakusanda under an acacia tree. The Lord Buddha Kona Gamana under a fig tree. The Lord Buddha Kassapa under a banyan tree. And I became fully enlightened at the foot of an asata tree. The Lord Buddha Vipassi had the pair of noble disciples, Kanda and Tissa. The Lord Buddha Sikhi had Abibu and Sambhava. The Lord Buddha Vesabu had Sona and Uttara. The Lord Buddha Kakusanda had Vidura and Sanjiva. The Lord Buddha Kona Gamana had Biosa and Uttara. The Lord Buddha Kassapa had Tissa and Bharadvaja. I myself now have the pair of noble disciples, Sariputta and Moggallana. The Lord Buddha Vipassi had 3 assemblies of disciples, one of 6,800,000, one of 100,000, and one of 80,000 monks. And these 3 assemblies were all Arahants. The Lord Buddha Sikhi had 3 assemblies of disciples, one of 100,000, one of 80,000, and one of 70,000 monks, all Arahants. The Lord Buddha Vesabu had 3 assemblies, one of 80,000, one of 70,000, and one of 60,000 monks, all Arahants. The Lord Buddha Kakusanda had 1 assembly, 40,000 monks, all Arahants. The Lord Buddha Kona Gamana had 1 assembly, 30,000 monks, all Arahants. The Lord Buddha Kassapa had 1 assembly, 20,000 monks, all Arahants. I, monks, have 1 assembly of disciples, 1,250 monks, and this 1 assembly consists only of Arahants. The Lord Buddha Vipassi's personal attendant was the monk Asoka. The Lord Buddha Sikhi's was Kemankara. The Lord Buddha Vesabu's was Upasanaka. The Lord Buddha Kakusanda was Vuddhija. The Lord Buddha Kona Gamanas was Sotija. The Lord Buddha Kassapas was Sabbamita. My chief personal attendant now is Ananda. The Lord Buddha Vipassi's father was King Banduma. His mother was Queen Bandumati. And King Banduma's royal capital was Bandumati. The Lord Buddha Sikhi's father was King Aruna. His mother was Queen Pabhavati. King Aruna's capital was Arunavati. The Lord Buddha Vesabu's father was King Supatita. His mother was Queen Yasavati. King Supatita's capital was Anupama. The Lord Buddha Kakusanda's father was the Brahmin Agidatta. His mother was the Brahmin lady Visakha. The king at that time was called Kema. His capital was Kemavati. The Lord Buddha Kona Gamana's father was the Brahmin Yanyadatta. His mother was the Brahmin lady Uttara. The king at that time was Soba. His capital was Sobhavati. The Lord Buddha Kassapa's father was the Brahmin Brahmadatta. His mother was the Brahmin lady Dhanavati. The king at that time was Kiki. His capital was Varanasi. And now monks, my father was King Suddhodana. My mother was Queen Maya. And the royal capital was Kapilavatthu. Thus the Lord spoke, and the wayfarer then rose from his seat and went to his lodging. Stop here for a moment. So from here you can see that the facts here are a bit distorted because the Buddha here in this sutta says that my father was King Suddhodana, Raja Suddhodana. His father was actually Raja Suddhodana, but not the king, because the term Raja is used for the royal family. Just like now in Malaysia, we have many Rajas who are not the king or the sultan or sultan. And we know from the Majjhima Nikaya Sutta, what's the name of that sutta? Monuments to the Dhamma. What's Dhammachettiya, I forgot the name. But in that sutta, the Buddha said, it was said that the Buddha was a citizen of Kosala, and the king of Kosala was Pasenadi, and there's only one king in a country. And the Buddha belonged to the Sakyan race, and the king of the Sakyans, the chieftain of the Sakyans, because the Sakyans were not they didn't have a king. Their king was this king Pasenadi. But the clan, the chieftain was a man called what's his name? Badia. This Badia, he renounced, became a monk because of his good friend Anuruddha persuaded him. And within a few months of renouncing, he became an Arahant. So it's mentioned in the Vinaya books. So Badia was the chieftain of the Sakyans. So the Buddha's father was not even the chieftain of the Sakyans. He was just one of the many rich warrior clan Rajas. So that's why here it says the capital was Kapilavatthu. But we know from the sutta that the capital of Kosala was not Kapilavatthu. Kapilavatthu was the place where the Buddha came from, the town of the Sakyans. Thus the Lord spoke. Soon after the Lord had gone, another discussion arose among the monks. It is marvelous, friends, it is wonderful, the Tathagata's great power and ability, the way he recalls past Buddhas who have gained parinibbana, having cut away the hindrances, cut off the road of craving, put an end to the round of becoming, overcome all suffering. He recalls their birth, their name, their clan, their lifespan, their disciples and assemblies connected with him. Being born thus, these blessed lords were such and such. Such were their names, their clans, their discipline, their Dhamma, their wisdom, their liberation. Well now, friends, how did the Tathagata come by the penetrative knowledge to which he remembers all this? Did some Deva reveal this knowledge to him? This was the conversation of those monks which came to be interrupted. Then the Lord, rising from the seclusion of the rest period, went to the Kareri pavilion and sat down on the prepared seat. He said, "Monks, what was your conversation as you sat together? What discussion did I interrupt?" And the monks told him. And the Buddha said, "The Tathagata understands these things by his own penetration of the principles of Dhamma, and Devas too have told him. Well, monks, do you wish to hear still more about past lives?" And they said, "Lord, it is time for that. Well, Pharaoh, it is time for that." If the Lord were to give a proper discourse on past lives, the monks would listen and remember it. And the Buddha said, "Well then, monks, listen, pay close attention, and I will speak." "Yes, Lord," the monks replied. And the Buddha said, "Monks, 91 aeons ago, the Lord, Arahant, Sammasambuddha, Vipassy arose in the world. He was born of Katya race and rose in a Katya family. He was of the Kondanya clan. The span of his life was 80,000 years. He gained his full enlightenment at the foot of a trumpet flower tree. He had the pair of noble disciples, Kanda and Tissa, as his chief followers. He had 3 assemblies of disciples, one of 6,800,000, one of 100,000, and one of 80,000 monks, all arahants. His chief personal attendant was the monk Asoka. His father was King Banduma, and his mother was Queen Bandumati. The king's capital was Bandumati. And so monks, the Bodhisattva Vipassi, descended from the Tusita heaven, mindful and clearly aware, into his mother's womb. This, monks, is the rule. It is the rule, monks, that when a Bodhisattva descends from the Tusita heaven into his mother's womb, there appears in this world with its Devas, Maras and Brahmas, its ascetics and Brahmins, princes and people, an immeasurable splendid light, surpassing the glory of the most powerful Devas. And whatever dark spaces lie beyond the world's end, chaotic, blind and black, such that they are not even reached by the mighty rays of sun and moon, are yet illumined by this immeasurable splendid light, surpassing the glory of the most powerful Devas. And those beings that have been reborn there recognize each other by this light and know. Other beings too have been born here, and this 10,000 world system trembles and quakes and is convulsed. And this immeasurable light shines forth. That is the rule. It is the rule that when a Bodhisattva has entered his mother's womb, 4 Devas come to protect him from the 4 quarters, saying, "Let no man, no human being, no thing whatever harm this Bodhisattva or this Bodhisattva's mother." That is the rule. It is the rule that when a Bodhisattva has entered his mother's womb, his mother becomes by nature virtuous, refraining from taking life, from taking what is not given, from sexual misconduct, from lying speech, or from strong drink and sloth-producing drugs. That is the rule. It is the rule that when a Bodhisattva has entered his mother's womb, she has no sensual thoughts connected with a man, and she cannot be overcome by any man with lustful thoughts. That is the rule. It is the rule that when a Bodhisattva has entered his mother's womb, she enjoys the 5-fold pleasures of the senses and takes delight, being endowed and possessed of them. That is the rule. Stop here for a moment. This part is hard to believe. Firstly, that the 10,000 world system trembled and quaked, and immeasurable splendid light surpassing the glory of the most powerful Devas shone. This is because before a Buddha is enlightened, he's like many ordinary beings or many Aryans. When Aryans are born, this doesn't happen because in this world there are still many Aryans. And then the second one, that when the Bodhisattva has entered the mother's womb, 4 Devas come to protect him. This also is a bit hard to believe. And then 1.18. It's alright. Then 1.18, 1.19. This 1.19 and 1.20 seem to contradict each other. 19 says that the mother has no sensual thoughts, but 20 says she enjoys the 5-fold pleasures of the senses and takes delight. It's the rule that when a Bodhisattva has entered his mother's womb, she has no sickness of any kind. She is at ease and without fatigue of body, and she can see the Bodhisattva inside her womb, complete with all his members and faculties. Monks, it is as if a gem, a beryl, pure, excellent, well cut into 8 facets, clear, bright, flawless and perfect in every respect, was strung on a blue, yellow, red, white or orange cord, and a man with good eyesight, taking it in his hand, would describe it as such. Thus does the Bodhisattva's mother, with no sickness, see him, complete with all his members and faculties. That is the rule. It is the rule that when the Bodhisattva's mother dies, 7 days after his birth, and is reborn in the Tusita heaven, that is the rule. It is the rule that whereas other women carry the child in their womb for 9 or 10 months before giving birth, it is not so with the Bodhisattva's mother, who carries him for exactly 10 months before giving birth. That is the rule. It is the rule that whereas other women give birth sitting or lying down, it is not so with the Bodhisattva's mother, who gives birth standing up. That is the rule. It is the rule that when the Bodhisattva issues from his mother's womb, Devas welcome him first, and then humans. That is the rule. It is a rule that when the Bodhisattva issues from his mother's womb, he does not touch the earth. 4 devas receive him and place him before his mother, saying, "Rejoice, your majesty, a mighty son has been born to you." That is the rule. It is the rule that when the Bodhisattva issues from his mother's womb, he issues forth stainless, not defiled by water, mucus, blood, or any impurity, pure and spotless. Just as when a jewel is laid on muslin from Kasi, the jewel does not stain the muslin, or the muslin the jewel. Why not? Because of the purity of both. It is the same. In the same way, the Bodhisattva issues forth stainless. That is the rule. It is the rule that when the Bodhisattva issues forth from his mother's womb, 2 streams of water appear from the sky, one cold, the other warm, with which they ritually wash the Bodhisattva and his mother. That is the rule. It is the rule that as soon as he is born, the Bodhisattva takes a firm stance on both feet facing north and takes 7 strides, and under a white sunshade he scans the 4 quarters and then declares with a bull-like voice, "I am chief in the world, supreme in the world, eldest in the world. This is my last birth. There will be no more re-becoming." That is the rule. It is the rule when the Bodhisattva issues from his mother's womb, there appears in this world an immeasurable splendid light, etc. This is the rule. Stop here for a moment. So here another list, which is quite far-fetched. I personally don't accept it. This one, like 1.21, says the mother can see the baby inside her, complete with all the members and faculties. So you must ask, what does she see it with? She hasn't developed the divine eye. The flesh eye, you can't see through the skin. You see the baby inside. This one, after the Bodhisattva's birth, 7 days after the Bodhisattva's birth, the Bodhisattva's mother dies and is reborn in the Tusita. This is supposed to be the case with our Bodhisattva, our Buddha Gautama or Sakyamuni Buddha. But it's doubtful whether this happens for every Buddha. And then it says here the mother gave birth to the Bodhisattva standing up. It's also hard to accept. And also that when he is born, the devas welcome him first. And then also, so the devas, when he is born, the devas hold him so that he does not touch the earth, and put him before the mother. This is also hard to accept. And also when he is born, he's stainless, not defiled by water or blood or anything. Also hard to understand. And this one, when he is born, 2 streams of water appear from the sky, one cold and the other warm. This is even harder to accept. This one, in the, I think Dhammapada commentary, the story is there. One of the stories is that the Buddha is supposed to have shown this psychic power, that from his body, cold and hot water came out. But this is just a story, and looks like they have put it in here. Then 1.29, when the Bodhisattva is born, he can take 7 steps and proclaim, "I am chief in the world." That is very hard to accept. Monks, when Prince Vipassi was born, they showed him to King Banduma and said, "Your Majesty, a son has been born to you. Deign, sire, to look at him." The king looked at the prince and then said to the Brahmins skilled in science, "You gentlemen are skilled in science. Examine the prince." The Brahmins examined the prince and said to King Banduma, "Sire, rejoice, for a mighty son has been born to you. It is a gain for you, sire. It is a great profit for you, sire, that such a son has been born into your family. Sire, this prince is endowed with the 32 marks of a great man. To such, only 2 courses are open. If he lives the household life, he will become a ruler, a wheel-turning righteous monarch of the law. conqueror of the four quarters, who has established the security of his realm and is possessed of the seven treasures. These are the wheel treasure, elephant treasure, horse treasure, jewel treasure, woman treasure, householder treasure, and counselor treasurer. He has more than 1,000 sons who are heroes of heroic stature, conquerors of the hostile army. He dwells, having conquered this sea-girt land without stick or sword, by the law. But if he goes forth from the household life into homelessness, then he will become an arahant, Sammasambuddha, one who draws back the veil from the world. And what, sire, are the 32 marks? He has 1. He has feet with level tread. 2. On the soles of his feet are wheels with 1,000 spokes. 3. He has projecting heels. 4. He has long fingers and toes. 5. He has soft and tender hands and feet. 6. His hands and feet are net-like. 7. He has high raised ankles. 8. His legs are like an antelope's. 9. Standing and without bending, he can touch and rub his knees with either hand. 10. His male organs are enclosed in a sheath. 11. His complexion is bright, the color of gold. 12. His skin is delicate and so smooth that no dust adheres to it. 13. His body hairs are separate, one to each paw. 14. They grow upwards, bluish-black like collyrium, growing in rings to the right. 15. His body is divinely straight. 16. He has the 7 convex surfaces. 17. The front part of his body is like a lion's. 18. There is no hollow between his shoulders. 19. He is proportioned like a banyan tree. His height is as the span of his arms. 20. His bust is evenly rounded. 21. He has a perfect sense of taste. 22. He has jaws like a lion's. 23. He has 40 teeth. 24. His teeth are even. 25. There are no spaces between his teeth. 26. His canine teeth are very bright. 27. His tongue is very long. 28. He has a Brahma-like voice, like that of the Karavika bird. 29. His eyes are deep blue. 30. He has eyelashes like a cow's. 31. The hair between his eyebrows is white and soft like cotton down. 32. His head is like a royal turban. Sire, this prince is endowed with the 32 marks of a great man. To such, only 2 courses are open. If he lives the household life, he will become a ruler, a wheel-turning righteous monarch of the law. But if he goes forth from the household life into homelessness, then he will become an arahant, Sammasambuddha, one who draws back the veil from the world. Then King Banduma, having clothed these Brahmins in fresh clothes, satisfied all their wishes. And King Banduma appointed nurses for Prince Vipassi. Some suckled him, some bathed him, some carried him, some dandled him. A white umbrella was held over him night and day, that he might not be harmed by cold or heat or grass or dust. And Prince Vipassi was much beloved of the people. Just as everybody loves a blue, yellow or white lotus, so they all loved Prince Vipassi. Thus he was borne from lap to lap. And Prince Vipassi had a sweet voice, a beautiful voice, charming and delightful. Just as in the Himalaya mountains, the Karavika bird has a voice sweeter, more beautiful, charming and delightful than all other birds, so too was Prince Vipassi's voice the finest of all. And owing to the results of past karma, the divine eye was present to Prince Vipassi, with which he could see for a league or yojana, day and night alike. And Prince Vipassi was unblinkingly watchful, like the 33 gods. And because it was said that he was unblinkingly watchful, the prince came to be called Vipassi. When King Banduma was trying a case, he took Prince Vipassi on his knee and instructed him in the case. Then putting him down from his knee, his father would carefully explain the issues to him. And for this reason, he was all the more called Vipassi. Then King Banduma caused 3 palaces to be built for Prince Vipassi, one for the rainy season, one for the cold season, and one for the hot season, to cater for all the 5-fold sense pleasures. There Prince Vipassi stayed in the rainy season palace for the 4 months of the rainy season. With no male attendants, surrounded by female musicians, he never left that palace. Stop here for a moment. So here it describes 32 characteristics of a great man, 32 marks of a great man. This comes from the Indian tradition, the Brahmin tradition.